Hey there guys, DMO73 here, bringing you another featured match for the week. Today I am playing against my buddy Tyler, who is playing a blue-black Gil Lapis control, and I am playing against, I'm playing with a red, mono-red, even though the stones have some red-white stones for the sideboard, Ascended Alisaris list that is based on Serra's list, which top-aided the Collinsville GP. I was really hyped to be able to use this. I know that we are planning on doing an Ascended Alisaris versus Ascended Prisia match very soon for you guys. It will be a very different deck than the one that I'm showing here today, but I liked the idea of the competitive style that she brought to Ascended Alisaris, and so I thought I'd make some personal tweaks and then play it for you guys here on the channel. So Tyler's Gil Lapis control has this possibility to flip very, very quickly and kind of control the board with his presence, and he is using the stealth package as well as some discard stuff. And then the Ascended Alisaris design is designed to kind of flip, slam keepers of the Verdandies and things like that, but also has the opportunity to kind of use unlimited lightning strikes as the game goes long in order to set things up. So I'm going to be on the play. First stone I hit is that red-white stone. Again, game one, I'm not going to be using that white at all. It's primarily just for the sideboard. I play that time-traveling emissary, which is one of the main ways the deck gets cards RFG'd. Tyler's going to hit that Dark Depths stone, and then decides to use Nameless Mist. He sees that I have 2 Demon Flames, Memory of Disappearance, and a Lightning Strike. Gonna read Memory of Disappearance real quick. Make me ditch the Thunder, which makes sense. He doesn't want me to have Burn Spell in my hand. Before the end of his turn, I'm going to ping my Emissary for 200 damage and then move to my turn. Unfortunately, I hit a Death Scythe there. Hit a stone off the top and get a Root Egg. So now I can use Time Traveling Emissary to hit that Root Egg. Tyler gets that Memoria there. That Remains of Ataraktia, Shock Rock, so he has to ping 3, and he does decide to keep it. He might decide to do some discard stuff here, or set a card. He's going to go ahead and set a card face down and then pass to me. Again, at the end of his turn, I'm going to ping the Root Egg to RFG, or I'm going to draw for turn first, because I want to see maybe what I draw into. Ping the Root Egg, and I also catch myself here. I have to RFG the first card first as cost, then I can go in and search. So I'm going to grab a Guinevere because I need to try to refill my hand. So now I've got 2 cards RFG'd. I'm trying to get to 11 cards so that I can flip. Hit a Disastrous Memoria, which also helps to speed up the deck significantly. Playing that Guinevere, and then passing the turn. So my goal here is to try to keep up the pressure in terms of hand advantage, even though he's going to be ripping my hand to shreds probably a lot. I want to be able to make sure that I can still continually kind of cast these burn spells and flood my graveyard, as well as hopefully get a Death Scythe in there. Death Scythe in the graveyard is very excellent for Alisaris to be able to suddenly massively fuel his RFG zone. He's going to play a Death Scythe and then tap for stone, hit a basic black. Debating whether or not he wants to use that Scorn, I think. Instead, he's going to put another card face down, so that Ryza's now face down there. At the end of his turn, my guy's going to ping itself to get a card removed, draw for turn, so I don't get that damage. Disastrous Memoria to RFG another card. I'm going to Lightning Strike his face, putting him down to 32. So lots of stuff there in the upkeep. And I'm thinking about using Guinevere to sacrifice the Time Traveling Emissary to draw some cards. I'm actually going to sacrifice herself. I could sacrifice the Time Traveling Emissary. That probably wouldn't be too bad of a move, because then I could just immediately recover, have it ping itself, and then sacrifice it again. Hit another Disastrous Memoria there. Instead, I'm going to play a second Time Traveling Emissary. So now I'm going to be removing cards at a very, very fast pace and play an Ifrit Glass, which is nice for helping me get cards back. Hit a second Death Scythe off the Ifrit Glass, which is very unfortunate. Passing the turn to Tyler at this point. Tyler's going to recover. Keeping in mind that Gil Lapis requires me to pay 1 more to activate Regalia activate effects while he's on his front side, so that Orb of Disaster is going to cost me 3 in order to be able to do anything with it. Out comes out 2 Earths. He's going to then use one of the Earths, his Blackstone, and a blue, another black source to go ahead and flip Gil Lapis. Gets his trigger, gets his Pitch Black Moon out, so now I have to deal with a very, very powerful dude, and he's got the ability to kind of cycle himself back out. But now I can activate Regalia for free, so that's, I don't have to pay the extra 1 for Gil Lapis, which is nice. Especially since he doesn't have Leviton. He decides he wants to hold up that stone for the bear magic in his hand, as opposed to using it for the scorn. At the end of his turn, each of the guys are going to ping each other. Get myself 2 cards, more cards RFG'd. And then he's going to use Gil Lapis to give one of them -2, so one of them will die. Which is fine for me, I still got to get a lot of cards removed. Draw for turn, get 2 more cards gone with the 2 Disasters Memoria, hit my 3rd Death Scythe, which is pretty unfortunate, and then recover. I need to get a Death Scythe into the grave pretty quick. You see I have that Velsivarian in my hand, which is less than ideal. Decide to tap for a stone. Get another Disasters Memoria. I have to try to kill that Gil Lapis pretty quick here, so I'm going to try to play around that a little bit. I'm going to play the Memory of Disappearance to bring back that Death Scythe to my hand and play it. This way that I can kind of trap him a little bit. Then I'm going to pay 4 to play Velsivarian. So now for my hand, so unfortunately I didn't get it off the Alisaris, but now all of those cards in my graveyard, the spells in my grave, I can cast as if they were in my hand. So it's like drawing 5. But now every card that I send to my graveyard at this point on will get removed from the game instead. And this is actually part of the combo for kind of unlimited lightning strikes, but we'll get to that when we get there. So at that point I pass to him. So Tyler's going to draw. Going to tap Death Scythe in the upkeep. Recover. Now he's going to decide whether he wants to tap for another stone. I think it would kind of make sense for him to tap for stone here, going up to 4 stones so he could use that Ryza. Instead, he's going to pay 4 and God's Art me. Seems a little unorthodox. He gets to go into my deck, grab an addition, a resonator, and a Regalia, so he can grab an Ifrit Glass, right, because all my Death Scythes are gone, and I think both my Levitins are as well. You can't grab any additions, because both my Velsivarias are taken care of, and my biggest creature is kind of the Uther, so he can use the Uther to kill he can't even, I think he only has 1 card in his grave at that point, so Uther won't even actually let him kill my little dude. It just makes it so that I have to be a little bit more patient. And not cast him before. So he is going to go ahead and do 200 damage to my guy. I'm going to not, I don't respond to the effect because I know I'm just going to wait and see and RFG and deal damage during my upkeep instead. So again, he's at 3 stones, so he can't use that Ryza. I'm going to go ahead and actually just block with the guy because I know that he doesn't have any way to really remove it. I mean, he could... Nope, he doesn't have any way to remove it at that point, so feeling pretty nice about that. I think I draw into another Thunder here, which feels really good. So, yeah, I have another Lightning Strike, so I can try to answer the Gil Lapis at this point. So, what you're going to see me do here is I'm going to cast 1 Lightning Strike on Gil Lapis. He's letting that resolve. I'm going to cast Memory of Disappearance to bring back the Lightning Strike from my hand. Then I'm going to play the Lightning Strike, which will resolve and get RFG'd. Then I will play another Lightning Strike, so that'll be the last amount of damage. And then in response to him trying to do that, I actually will cast the other Lightning Strike from my graveyard. So in order to kill the Gil Lapis. So 2 of them have resolved, and then in response to the third one, he's going to try to bounce back. But then in response to him trying to bounce back, I'm just going to kill it. So this was my way of getting the major damage dealer off the board, which actually is probably going to win me the game, or save me from the game, or let me try to grind it out. I'm trying to make sure I have the right amount of will there. Leave 1 stone up, and then I can just pass. So I'm actually at a really good spot here, because all he has on the board is Uther. He's going to get to 4 stones, but at this point in time, he can't use Melder, and he also can't use Ryza. He's too high on life for Ryza. He's also he has a creature on board, so he can't make use of Uther effectively. Or he can't make use of Ryza. He is choosing not to pay for the card there, which probably makes the most sense. He's going to go ahead and pay 1. He's going to go ahead and Scorn a Dark Alisme. I don't have any creatures in my hand, just double Demon Flame. The 2 Demon Flames I've had since the beginning. He's going to go ahead and ping me for 500 damage, or 800 damage, taking me down to 32. Draw for turn. Look, as you can see, I draw into a 3rd Demon Flame here, which is not good at all. It doesn't do anything for me at this point. I'm back to having to pay 3 for Gil Lapis, which is a little not fun. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 cards, 13 cards removed from the game. I'm going to tap for another stone. And then I think at that point I just pass. Think about maybe cracking us with the stone there, but I'm not quite sure if I do. So at this point, I am at a place where I can start kind of Lightning Strike looping him. So I need to pay 1 more here. I think we do catch it here. I grab a Lightning Strike and the Memory of Disappearance. I'm gonna pay 1 to cast the Memory of Disappearance, bring it back, replay it. I just wanted to get the Lightning Strike in my hand so I can make use of the death to the thing, and then I'll pass. So like I said, it doesn't. This was a misplay on both of our parts. We didn't catch the Gil Lapis having to pay more until a little bit later. Thankfully, it didn't matter because I don't spend the will here that would have been spent off of the orb. But again, this is why maintaining game states is important. Both of us, after we catch it, would actually be given a failure to maintain game state warning, which can be upgraded. So these are things to just keep in mind. He's going to cast Valentina's Reach to draw a bunch of cards. I'm okay with that because he's tapping out to do it, which gives me some opportunity. He draws 3 cards there. So again, all he has is Uther, which is less than punishing for me, really. Plays another Earth, and then I think he decides to pass, or I'm not sure if he decides to swing. Plays the Leviathan. Swings for the 8. I think at this point I just double Demon Flame it just to get it out of the way. Yeah, I just cast the 2 Demon Flames on it just to get it out of my way. I need to be paying the will for those. I hope I catch that here in a second, otherwise we're both being pretty silly. Tyler and I play pretty chill when we're playing together, so sometimes this happens, and I apologize for that. So draw. I'll cast Lightning Strike at his face. Oh, wow. Okay, so there's something to note. I didn't use the will for the Demon Flames. That's my bad. So that actually is going to play a big factor here. Oh well, you know what? We'll move forward. So yeah, so I forgot to spend the will there for the Demon Flames. I should have just taken the 800 damage. And therefore I wouldn't have been able to search use the Ifrit Glass. But neither of us kind of catch that I messed up there. Definitely not intentional, and definitely don't do what I do. So apologize for the mistake there. I used the Memory of Disappearance during the upkeep to RFG to get back my Ifrit Glass. Bring the Ifrit Glass back onto the field, and unfortunately remove from play another Ifrit Glass. I pay 1 to do Judgment. I have lots of stuff here to be able to access. At this point, I've essentially transitioned knowing the fact that I'm probably going to just be playing Unlimited Thunders. I don't really make a huge impactful play there that turn, which is kind of unfortunate. I probably need to be putting a little bit more pressure. And there comes the Black Moonbeam, so now Alisaris is dead, which means I'm not going to be putting a lot of pressure out with Verdandis. And then there comes the Lapis Dark Storm to make me go to 2 cards. In response, I'll Lightning Strike his face and then lose all the other cards in my hand. So I'm completely out of cards at this point, taking him down to 22. Lets me go. I draw for turn. During the upkeep, I'm going to go ahead and spend 3. Get that Ifrit Glass, or get the Lightning Strike and the Memory of Disappearance. Again, this is just showing that I need to practice more with this deck. Because... Oh no, I don't think I think I top decked a Memory of Disappearance here. So I'm actually deciding about what 2 cards to grab. That Ifrit Glass should be RFG'd and not in my graveyard. Definitely playing pretty sloppy here, so I apologize for that. So learn from my mistakes is all I can say here. So tap for stone, get a basic Firestone. Play 1, play the Memory of Disappearance to grab an Ifrit Glass back from here. The reason why, I mean, in the long run of Tyler and I playing, it's not super relevant because I'm only going to be using the 1 Ifrit Glass kind of over and over and over again. I can't really grab more than 1. All I do there is just play the Memory of Disappearance and then pass. So I've got an Uther in my hand. He flips over the Ryza. He's deciding whether or not he wants to pay the Grand. He decides against it. He just wants to put a creature on board at this point. Makes sense. He's doing my job for me. He knows that I can just grab 2 more Thunders if he hits it, and he knows he's got a Thunder in hand. So if he pays for a Ryza here, he just loses. But he does have an 800 stick, point creature at this point. He does have the Nameless Mist in his hand, so he could possibly try to grab the Thunder, but then I just RFG, hit him with it in response. So swings at me for 8. I'm going to take the 800, go down to 24. Going to play a Nidhogg. And then pass the turn. Goes to me. See that guy here. And now here's where we get a little bit silly. So I'm going to go ahead and Lightning Strike him. Response to that, crack the Ifrit Glass. Grab a Memory of Disappearance in one of my other Lightning Strikes. Let that resolve. Cast a Lightning Strike at him. So 1,000 damage. Take him down to 22. And then recover. And he's like, well, you have enough to kill me at this point. But unfortunately, if he didn't have Gil Lapis, I would, because I could have just done some other silly things. But unfortunately, because he's Gil Lapis, this is going to take a little bit more will than I have available this turn. It really doesn't matter, because he can't possibly deal 2,400 damage to me next turn, and he knows that he's dead here. So either way, it doesn't really matter, because I'm going to be able to grab as many Thunders as I want next turn, and at least a few more this turn. The execution here is going to be really sloppy, and because I kind of second-guess myself, and I'm tracking life and everything else, so I apologize. But essentially, my job here at this point is to just cycle those Lightning Strikes as many times as I need to, and then kill him. He can't possibly deal lethal to me next turn. Darkness doesn't have any swiftness creatures, and he's only got 20 damage on board. So there's no way that kills me, especially since his Gil Lapis can't flip anymore. and he's not playing any kind of burn. So I can just pay, grab what I need to, and cycle the lightning strikes to finish the game. So we'll see how this plays out. You're going to see my execution be super sloppy, and I'm going to second guess myself, and Tyler and I are going to joke around a little bit about whether or not I should grab Demon Flame or Lightning Strike, and we're going to be weird, but ultimately this is going to end with Lightning Strike loops to finish the game. So I'll talk about why my plays are kind of bad here in this game, and then hopefully you all can forgive me for misplays. I'm going to play the Memory of Disappearance again, grab this so that I can set it up for next turn, RFG a card, Memory of Disappearance should also be in the RFG zone here. Yeah, see, here's where he and I are goofing around. It's like, oh wait, I should have grabbed the Demon Flame, the Lightning Strike, Demon Flame, Lightning Strike, Demon Flame. Tyler's a gracious dude. Like I said, huge thanks to him for kind of goofing around with me with this. At this point, I'm thinking like, oh, I had that top deck to that guy, so I'm like, oh, it doesn't really matter. You don't have damage. I don't really need to worry about killing a guy. And then I, like, right at the end of my turn, I second guess myself again, and I actually, like, before I even pass, I swap it back to the Demon Flame, which, one, don't do that in an official match, and so huge thanks to Tyler for being chill with that, and two, I didn't even need to worry about doing that anyway. I'm like, wait a second, no, I did mean to grab the Demon Flame. I'm really bad at this. This is actually, even though it's a mono red deck for the most part, this actually deck is pretty complicated, and especially when you get to this point where you're trying to do these lightning strike loops and also trying to keep things off board, you really do have to be careful and execute things really smooth. So this is a lesson in bad sequencing, so please take that with a grain of salt. Overall, though, very fun deck. Congrats to Serra for piloting it to a top 8 finish. Very impressive. So out comes a Melder. Let that Melder summon resolve. Like I said, it doesn't really matter here what he does. He's going to get Lightning Strike Loop next turn for lethal, but I'll ping RFG another card and ping. And then he, jokes about like Charlotte's Water Transformation magic. Damage still goes through. It's fine. That guy gets RFG, and then I'll cast the Demon Flame to kill the Nidhogg, just to take less damage. Not that it matters. Swings in for the 8. Gonna take it, go down to 16. Draw for my turn, and then we're just kind of goofing around because we know the Lightning Strike loop at this point is coming. So I don't have enough will to crack because I cast the Demon Flame. Pay. So now we're checking. So 3, Memory of Disappearance, 3, and then try Thunders. So 3 to crack, grab Memory of Disappearance, grab a Lightning Strike, pay 1 for Memory of Disappearance to grab the Ifrit Glass, play the Ifrit Glass, RFG a card, Lightning Strike to send it away, play 3, crack the Ifrit Glass, grab 2 Lightning Strikes and cast those both for the last 2 will to finish the game. So 1,500 damage out of, or 2,000 damage almost out of 3 will, or out of 10 will. So that's it for that game, but now we'll move on to game 2, and hopefully we won't watch me poorly sequence and goof off and mess things up. So game 2, I'm going to be on the draw. Hopefully this time I get to use some of my keepers and actually make Alisaris put in some work. My hand, I've seen an Ifrit Glass. I see, some stuff to be able to make some plays. The Lightning Strike feels good. You'll get that initial burn damage. Tyler is debating whether or not to burn himself first turn. He decides not to. He knows that he doesn't want to put himself in a bad position again. I'm going to play that Ifrit Glass, or get a Death Scythe removed, but thankfully I have a Death Scythe in my hand, so I'm not too worried about that. And the reason why I'm keeping the Death Scythe in my hand is because I know he plays discard stuff. So if he plays a discard card here, I might be able to take advantage of it and get that Death Scythe to grave. He does play the Lapis Dark Storm. In response, I'm going to go ahead and Lightning Strike him with that. I want to get at least one of these Lightning Strikes to resolve and hit his face. Take down to 32. Rolls the die. Hits 1. Gets the Lightning Strike, and then the Death Scythe gets to go to grave. So unfortunate that he hit my second Lightning Strike, but getting the Death Scythe to grave was what I wanted to get out of that. So this way he did my job for me because I wasn't able to get a Guinevere. Gonna draw for turn, and then RFG a card with Disaster's Memoria. Hit another Disaster's Memoria. I'm gonna play a Verdandi and remove a Velsivaria because it's a dead card in my hand, and then draw a card. Pass to Tyler at that point. Tyler has a lot of cards in his hand. Decides to call for another stone, gets a Dark Depths, and Soul Hunts me, which feels really bad. But also floods my graveyard a little bit, which is nice. I'm going to get rid of a Memory of Disappearance. Reason why I'm okay sending that to the grave right now is because now that it's in my grave, I can use Velsivaria later when it comes out to be able to recast it. So essentially all my spells going to grave can potentially be cards in my hand, which is nice. He's debating about whether to use that Lapis Darkstorm to get rid of the last card in my hand, which honestly isn't a bad call. He would be at massive advantage, and when Burn runs out of cards, then it's bad. And then the worst thing happens. I draw for turn, and then I hit my other Velsivaria off the Disaster's Memoria. So now I'm not going to be able to cast those spells that I discarded from my grave. I'm going to play the Gwen, and then pass the turn here. Tyler draws for his turn. He's got a Scorn in his hands. He does have lots of Regalia. I'm pretty sure we're going to see a flip this turn, I'm thinking. Yep, he plays the 2 orbs, the 2 Earths, and the Leviathan, so I'm about to be taking a lot of damage from this guy. Pays for the Judgment. Now what I should do in response here is I should immediately use the Guinevere to try to draw cards, but that actually still puts advantage in his court because then he can just use his discard spells afterwards. Which is not great. Now, Tyler could have also really punished me by using his 2 orbs to do his Judgment, and then if I force the Gwyn, if he forces the Gwyn there, then he can make me discard 2 cards, and I'll be just completely tapped out and not have a Gwyn. He also decides to let that Gwyn resolve. He could easily have just canceled that activate ability with Gil, but I don't think maybe he forgot about it. So now you see I have a Guinevere in my hand, but I also have 2 Verdandis, which is really good. So I'm trying to see about how I want to do this, because if I flip this turn, I could potentially put a lot of pressure on Tyler to have to answer it because of those 2 Verdandis, just because I have so many cards in my grave. I decide to discard, and I'm keeping the Lumious Judgment in my hand, just to be able to potentially wipe off those Regalia next turn. So I'm trying to decide whether or not to discard the Guinevere or the Lumious Judgment. I go ahead and decide to discard the Guinevere. I get rid of 2 more cards. And then still before upkeep, I'm going to remove 6 cards from my graveyard because I have exactly 6. And Tyler's asking me a question about the Lightning Strike loop from last game and how things resolve. And I kind of tell him, I was like, oh, you let them resolve one at a time. So this is me kind of talking to Tyler a little bit, so sorry about that. So now at this point, I will have 12 cards removed, which is just enough for Alisaris to be able to get out, which is nice. I'm going to flip. I have way more than enough to do Judgment at this point. I'll play with that Death Scythe I just brought back to my hand. So I have two options here. I can either, you know, go at him with Verdandis. I don't have either of my Velsivarian, so it's a fail to find. But I still have to shuffle mandatory triggers and all that. I'll play one for the Verdandi. I'm not going to exile a card. I like my hand right now. And then I'll play one for another Verdandi. So both the Verdandis are now out, and they all have Swiftness, Precision, and Target Attack. Or sorry, Swiftness, Precision, and First Strike. If I had Leviathan here, it'd be nice. Because then I could, like, swing into his... especially since I have Death Scythe and he doesn't. I could, like, swing into his Gil Lapis. And then banish for Imperishable, and then just mess with him that way. But instead, I'm just going to go ahead and use the two Verdandis to swing at his face for 20. So this puts him down to 12, which, again, puts him in a really bad spot. Because he's only got 2 cards in hand, right? Because he spent a lot of them for the Regalia. He can God's Art me, but I probably don't have much at this point that really helps him answer 2 Verdandis. And he has to answer... He knows that if... With what I've got, if any of my 3 creatures connect, I have lethal. Because I have that Orb of Disaster to be able to search for a Lightning Strike. So if Gil Lapis, if either of those Verdandis connects, then he gets Lightning Striked. If Alisaris connects, then he's dead. So he has to try to answer all 3 of these cards right now, and he decides to do God's Art. I don't know if that was the right call here. That's at most, it's not really going to answer any of my creatures. It's just going to put another blocker on board, which is okay, but it's also not necessarily super good. He's in a pretty bad spot here anyway, knowing that I have another Verdandi in the RFG zone, so like I can, you know, search for it with the... I can do a lot of things. I can search for it, and another Lightning Strike, and just, you know, tap for stone and swing at his face that way too. So pretty uphill battle at this point for him. Not really sure how he comes out of this one, but I also definitely don't think that the God's Art really helped. He puts out an Uther. He can deal 600 damage to my Verdandis or my Alisaris, but I'm not gonna block with the Alisaris at that point. There's really no point in it. And now again, he's tapped out except for the ability to stop an activate effect. I don't have any of those. Passes the turn. Gonna activate my Death Scythe once. So now if either of those guys connects, now he's essentially given me the connection, right? Because he only has 1 blocker and 1 stone, so I can just swing in with the Verdandi. He's gonna go ahead and block. Then I swing in with the Gil Lapis, or sorry, with the Alisaris, and then just pump for lethal. Again, he actually probably, I think he can cancel activate abilities of the Regalia with his Gil Lapis, which would have been fine too, but again, he just the way he blocked there also made it so it didn't work. So that is it. Sorry for the super poor execution game 1. I'll explain the combo a little bit better in the deck profile this weekend. But huge thanks to Tyler for shipping me for playing with me, and a huge congrats to Serra, and thank you to her for the list as well as letting me modify it and play it on the channel. She is from Team Brewhouse. Link to them down in the description. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you guys thought about the video. And until next time, this is DMO73 signing off.